G'day divers and welcome back to the channel. I am at the Matahari Dive Resort and Spa in Tulamben, Bali. I've been here many times. I'm certainly not sponsored or anything. I've paid full price. In fact, I didn't even get a package deal. It is so crazily cheap here that I just booked the room and then did as much diving as I wanted. Got my own guide for all the dives. I've done 29 dives on nitrox. Average dive time probably 70 minutes just because I've been one-on-one with a guide. So I think my shortest was 60 minutes and some were well over 80 minutes because he's been happy. I mean, I've been here many times to just wait till I was low on air. And, you know, I love coming here. If you're into macro, there's, you know, no better place to come. As far as ease to get here, cost is insane. Like, it's insanely cheap. It is actually cheaper for me to dive here with a guide than it probably is to fill a nitrox tank in Melbourne. Great place for macro. You really got to be into macro. There is some wide angle stuff like the USS Liberty wreck, but there's not a lot of wide angle stuff here. It really is, the highlight is the muck diving and the macro. But I've been here many times and I'll keep coming. But one thing that I've had on this trip, which was inevitable, I mean, this particular trip I booked in rainy season. It is mid-December. You expect a lot of rain, but this year's been really bad rain. So visibility's been very low for here. I've had some days and certain sites where the visibility has been quite good. Certainly not, you know, perfect like it is in high season. But I've had other times where I haven't been able to see my hand in front of my face because at one day particular, we were on the Liberty wreck and we could see the lightning. The rain was like thunder and obviously hit the volcano, and suddenly there was rivers, torrents of water coming in, and it was just brown mud. You could actually see it coming in. Then when we got back here over near the drop-off, it literally made a new beach. There was trees and all sorts of things being washed into the ocean, which has meant that the visibility here has been quite low. And that's the tip I want to talk to you about today, which is what to do when you do have low vis. You need to just to adjust to the situation. So one thing is, I was hoping, although I expected being in rainy season it mightn't happen, was I really wanted to do some more stuff in wide angle on the USS Liberty wreck and on the Boga wreck. I had the Ion GR140 ZD lens, and I'd have that on the Ace Pro2. Plus, I've managed to make an adapter myself, because you can't buy one, to attach it to the Divevolk. And I really wanted to get some awesome, really wide-angle stuff, but that was never going to happen. There's no point in me trying to take shots that aren't possible. And that's your first tip. You know, every camera, regardless of what accessories and what settings, there'll be a shot it can do very well. So worry about what it can do and don't worry about what it can't do. Like, I could take a GoPro Hero 3 right now, well, in an underwater housing because it wasn't waterproof, without any accessories otherwise, without any settings changes when it comes out of the box. And I could take it for a snorkel and I could get some great shots. But I would need to limit what I was filming and how I was filming it. The more accessories you have, the better camera you have, the wider range of things you can do. And that goes with conditions as well. So once you start getting low vis, you can't get rid of backscatter. It's not possible. It isn't possible to bend the light around the suspended particles. You want to light the subject, so you're going to have to light some particles. But what you're going to need to do is limit how many particles there are and limit how much they stand out. So the first way to limit them is to, one, try and find the clearest water. Often when you're in places, especially when this sort of thing happens, you know, if you go deeper, not always, but there's normally somewhere where the visibility is better. So go for the better vis rather than trying to hunt for critters in poor vis. That's first step. Second step is to reduce the amount of water between you and your subject. So you might change your plan. You mightn't go for those big wide angles. If you're going to do wide angle, I did a lot of fans and close-ups like that. So you're still taking a wide-angled shot, but I'm getting with a wide-angled lens, I'm getting, you know, within a few inches sometimes of those fans. And the less water between you and your subject, the less particles, therefore, that can be lit up. So, you know, start looking at your macro or doing your close-up shots, even with wide close-up videography and photography, rather than trying to do your expansive wide shots that just aren't going to work anymore. This is the main reason we use wet lenses, actually. I mean, a wide-angle lens, its biggest thing, especially on an action camera, is to lower that focusing distance. So, you know, the focusing distance is what around 2 feet underwater on an action camera, depends on which one it is. So the reason we put a wide-angle lens on is that is too far. So if you're more than a couple of feet from something, you are too far from it most of the time. You need to be using your fins to get closer. Don't start using clarity zoom to get you closer. The only time you use clarity zoom to get you closer is when it's your only option to get you closer. And the same on any camera. We put a wide-angled lens on so we can get less water between us and the subject most of the time. I mean, there's always creative shots, nothing's ever, like there's other reasons too. But one of the biggest reason is to lower that distance between you and your subject, because the less water means it's sharper, means it's more colorful, and more importantly, when the vis is low, it means less suspended particles and less backscatter. Another one is to think about your lights. You know, you want to angle your lights so you don't have the light bouncing straight back into your lens. Very difficult if you've got one light. Then you want to start mounting it to the top. I will do a video on lighting, but lighting, let me be clear, is like settings. You need to learn the theories behind them and why they are what they are. There isn't one set of settings. There is not one set of light positions. It all comes down to learning about why you do it. So we angle our lights in such a way that that the light's not bouncing straight back into the lens. That's the first one. It helps not shine the brightest light straight on the face of your particles. The next thing is so you've got an even shot on your subject as well. You're not ending up with shadows. Sometimes you might, like this is the thing, some things are artistic. There's no never, you might want shadows, but as a general rule, that's why we're lighting both sides, so the lighting is even. The next thing by having it back and on that angle is what we're trying to do is only light our subject. So it's not always possible, especially with videography, because you might want things in the foreground lit up. It depends on the shot, but what you're really trying to do is only light the subject. If you put the light on the subject, and more importantly, don't light the water between the lens and the subject, you're not going to highlight those particles. And it's going to make your shot much, much less particles and backscatter in your shot. The unfortunate thing about videography is, you know, you can't really fix it in post, unlike a photograph. I mean, a photograph is a single image and it's, you know, pretty easy, especially these days. You can even cheat and use AI. Don't if you plan on putting that photo in any competition or you've got any level of respect for yourself. Like, you know, don't use AI to take a photograph if you really like a photograph. Like, it's not yours if you don't do it. So learn how to do it. But if you're happy with using it, you do it. I personally, if I can't edit a photo in less than 1 minute, it gets deleted. I don't care what it is. So a good photo, a photo that's done well, should be very easy to edit. But I digress. Video, we don't have that luxury. We're not going to sit there and try and you know, fix 60 frames per second, and you'd pick it up anyway because of the changes in the image, but you need to limit your backscatter. So lighting, get close. The next thing with lighting is everybody, when they start, they just put their lights on full beam. You need to be using the right amount of light, which should be the least amount of light you need for that shot. The more light you add, the more backscatter you're going to get, the quicker your batteries are going to burn out, the more likely to have overexposed areas, heavy shadows. You know, it's not doing you any favors. If you need a properly exposed shot, so that's why, for example, when you jump up from cheap lights, you go from, say, having 3 settings or maybe 2 settings up to, you know, multiple settings. Like the SL50 has 9 settings. Do I need 9 settings? Absolutely. I use them and I flick through them all the time. Applicable on a smartphone, not so much on an action camera because we have no other control anyway. But certainly on a smartphone, I'm always going through those 9 settings, just trying to find that right spot, the right spot where I'm happy with my ISO and shutter speed, I'm happy with my color, but I haven't gone too far to reduce backscatter. What other things are there? You know, think about where you're positioning. If you're trying to avoid backscatter and, you know, inevitably poor weather, as you can hear in the background, we've got a lot of swell at the moment, which means there's surge. So go down deeper to get away from the surge. And when you are in the surge or the current, try and approach all the things that you shoot down current of them. Because obviously if you're up current of them, you're going to get pushed into them, which isn't good. It's going to be hard to control and get your focus right and not, you know, do something you shouldn't be doing, which is damaging the reef or scaring marine life. The other thing is if you stir up anything whatsoever, all that stirred up bottom is going to go over your subject. So if you go down current and start filming, at least then if you stir up anything or anything gets stirred up, it's going away from you, not over the subject. So I hope those tips help. If you're interested in more tips and tricks, I obviously will do in-depth videos. I've done a whole heap of filming here. Unfortunately, today I'm going, but I think the weather is going to make a turn for even worse, so I'll just come back next year. But you know, if you want to know how to use your action camera or smartphone to get really nice shots underwater, you don't need to spend a fortune, then please like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time, don't forget to keep blowing bubbles and never forget, the deeper you go, the further you get away from all those idiots.